Good morning and welcome once again to our prayer message from the grounds of our beautiful Basilica here in Carmel, California. And I am actually situated in a bed that has cuttings from some of the original pear trees that were brought to this country by Saint Junipero and his fellow companions, his fellow missionaries. And I see it's bearing fruit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's quite a bountiful harvest there on the way. Right now, they're a little too hard for the birds to peck, but we have to be ready to pick them when they're nice and ripe. And in this area here, we have planted other pear trees that we've taken from the original. So let's think. That was taken from Spain, we think from Majorca in 1770 or thereabouts, and brought to this country. So they are still producing fruit. Amazing, amazing. Getting back to our prayer message, this past Sunday we heard in the Gospel one of my favourite parables, and that is the parable of the sower who goes out and sows the seed. And we know various things happen to that seed. And I think it ends up only 10% of it produces fruit, produces a harvest. These pear trees, I think, have fared far better. A few weeks ago I shared a poem by one of my favourite Irish poets, and that is Seamus Heaney, who won the Nobel Prize for Literature some years ago. And that poem was called A Call, in which he took a call to his home, and his father was out in the garden digging. Now, he has a book of poetry called Digging, and this is the title poem from that book. We encounter his father once again in this poem, out in the garden, now tending that most precious of Irish crops, the potato. The potato, you're right. So first, a brief review of his life and work. He's widely recognised as one of the greatest contributors to Irish poetry in his lifetime, and he has been described as the greatest Irish poet since Yeats. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1995. He also lived part-time in the United States of America from 1981 to 2006, and he was professor at Harvard from 1981 to 1997, and its poet in residence from 1988 to 2006. His literary papers are held by the National Library back in Ireland. He is buried at the cemetery of St Mary's Church, Balahi, Northern Ireland, and the headstone bears the epitaph, "Walk on air against your better judgment." And that's from one of his poems entitled The Gravel Works. Digging. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun. Under my window, a clean, rasping noise when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. My father digging. I look down till his straining rump among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. The coarse boot nestled on the lug. The shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. By God, the old man could handle a spade, just like his old man. My grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's Bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to it right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf, digging. The cold smell of potato mould, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an edge through living roots awaken in my head. But I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it. Some of you may have been blessed with a green thumb and may love to tend our gardens and proudly watch them as they grow, bear fruit like our pear tree here. But even those of you who struggle to keep an air plant or a cactus alive have always to contribute something to producing rich soil in our world. For Seamus Heaney was the pen. His poems touched people's hearts, helped them learn new ways of thinking of eternal questions and problems, comforted them, challenged them, and caused each of them to grow. Our Creator has given each one of us unique gifts. We are called to seek them out in ourselves, to nurture them and share them so that all may benefit by them. As always, if you do have prayer requests, I invite you to share them with Father Rodrigo and myself. Just go to our parish website, carmelmission.org, and press on that prayer request button. And we will take them with us during our daily prayers and masses. Thank you.